Have you ever felt like you bought something that you didn't need? It wasn't an accident. Marketers are masters of psychological warfare, and in this video, I'm going to break down the 7 dark psychological tricks that they use to influence your buying decisions, often without you even knowing. But once you learn these, you'll start to see these everywhere, and you'll never fall prey to them again. Dark trick number 1 is emotional manipulation. Any marketer that's any good at what they do is trained from day one to sell you on dreams and not the features of the product. In fact, there's entire books written about this. The reason they do this is because it works. And it works so well because it's pulling on the emotional heartstrings of what you really want in life. This can be seen everywhere, from Toyota focusing on the fun family vacation and not the kids kicking the back seat asking, are we there yet for the 500th time? Or brands like Gucci or Chanel, where they're focused on showcasing a lavish lifestyle full of attractive models and high-priced exotic sports cars. When in reality, you're getting an item, which if you remove the logo, isn't a whole lot different than what you're gonna get from your run-of-the-mill department store. Yet many of us run out and buy because these emotional appeals bypass the logic centers of the brain and tap into something that's far more primal. Addressing one of our many basic human needs from something you may have heard of before called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which clearly articulates all of our fundamental human needs that must be addressed and satisfied in chronological order. Things like physiological needs, such as hunger, reproduction, safety and security, things like employment, health, retaining property, or love and belonging, which is obtaining or maintaining friendships, intimacy, or family. And esteem, which is rooted in respect, status, recognition, and one's freedom. And all of these are being thrown at you in visual and emotional format, making you crave their often overpriced product. Which brings me to dark trick number 2, price anchoring. This is one of the most powerful techniques on this list, and it's used everywhere, from consumer packaged goods to Apple and even your food choices. The reality of this is that the first price that you see isn't the price, it's the trap. What price anchoring is when a company shares a higher than normal price or shares another premium product at an enormously higher price point, only to introduce their mid-priced or core offer later at a substantially cheaper price. This anchors the medium product with the perceived value of the premium product, except the medium product will have 80 to 90% of the features that the premium product does, making it feel like you're getting an absolute steal of a deal. A really simple way to see this in action is on infomercials. Now, infomercials are one of the fastest ways to move products to the mass market, and this is one of their core strategies to move massive amounts of product quickly. And here's how they do it. So what they'll do at first is they'll bring in the first product, say it's a pan, and they'll tell you all the cool things that you can do for this pan. And this pan on its own is $97. But by the time they're done, not only are you getting the pan, but you're getting 2 full pots and pan sets, plus the blender. But you're not gonna pay $97, you're only gonna pay 2 payments of $27. You see, the price was never $97. The price was always 2 payments of $27. But they weaponized it with something else, which is dark trick number 3, scarcity. Scarcity isn't just a selling point, it's a bloody weapon in the right hands. That's because scarcity is entirely rooted in the biological human trigger to respond to the fear of missing out, or FOMO. This triggers massive urgency in people and forces them to act irrationally in situations where resources are limited or time is winding down. You see this everywhere in modern day marketing, from limited time sales to fake countdown timers on checkout pages. Even as something as simple as McDonald's bringing back the McRib. The fact that their market segment knows that it's a disappearing item forces them to take action in that short window of time. Even video game retailers like Nintendo are masters at this. With rolling limited time releases, they only put out small batches of product well below what they know the market demand is. This artificially creates scarcity in the marketplace, making the product seem a lot more in demand than it actually is. Anyone remember Clubhouse, that social media app that was super popular during the pandemic? There were people at the time who were willing to pay upwards of $20,000 just for an invite. Now, it's a ghost town, all on the back of FOMO and something else that's just as powerful, which brings me to my next dark trick, exclusivity. It's in our human nature to want what we can't have. from products to dating, which is because exclusivity targets another tier on Maslow's list, which is status. This is also something, by the way, that sells extremely well to anybody with money, because this is what most people won't tell you, but once you actually have real money, you can pretty well buy anything you want. So your wants change, and it becomes a game of wanting what others can't have. Again, for status. Think of it like a keeping up with the Joneses of the elite, which often translates into them buying obscure, limited time things and artwork that nobody understands. But what this does is it creates the allure of being part of an elite group, which for the rest of the world often activates those needs of status and belonging. You can see this in action with things like limited edition product, invitation only memberships, or exclusive groups, most of the time which aren't really that exclusive anyways. So the next time that you're about to buy something that feels exclusive, ask yourself if you're getting something that's truly gated or if it's just another flashy marketing tactic. Because there can be real power into buying into the right social circles. Which brings me to my next dark trick on the list, social proof. Social proof is one of the most powerful tricks used by marketers today. Why it's so powerful is because it's rooted right into our DNA. All throughout human history, and dating back even thousands of years to when humans used to live in caves and tribes, the people who stuck together in the group often had a better chance of survival than the ones who went off on their own. Think about it this way: when it was time to fight off the saber-toothed tiger, an entire group of hunters stood a far better chance than the lone wanderer did. The fact that this is rooted directly into our biology makes this one of the most difficult tricks to overcome, because when everybody else is doing it, you'll want to do it too. And when nobody else is doing it, it's going to appear as unnecessarily risky. Marketers weaponize this by sharing endless amounts of testimonials, user-generated content, case studies, and even pay for your favorite influencers' support, all to build their trust factor through social proof. This entire process is why review systems like product reviews and Yelp are so effective, even though they can be very easily manipulated to fit the needs of the company or the marketer. But the reason that these work so well is what brings me to my next dark trick on the list. Dark trick number 6, loss aversion. Humans are internally wired to be far more afraid to lose what they already have than they are to be excited about a potential gain. Think about this example. If a random $100 bill blew down the sidewalk and across a busy intersection, your first reaction would probably be, "Oh man, I wish I would have grabbed that faster." Now, if it was your $100 bill that blew out of your pocket across that same busy intersection, I'll bet that you'd be doing everything you could to get across that intersection as fast as possible so you didn't lose your hard-earned $100. This is because we're biologically wired to protect what we already have in a factor of 10 to 1 versus what we could possibly stand to gain. Companies will often weaponize this with expensive extended warranties, and don't even get me started on insurance sales. Some subscription businesses will even take it as far as to tell you that when you cancel, you can't sign up again. This future loss of not being able to come back again in the future can create a loss aversion loop in the mind of the customer, in which it becomes much easier to just stay where they are and therefore stay safe. But there's one more trick, and it's the most common of all, and it can be seen everywhere from online shopping to Costco, and that's the law of reciprocity. The Hare Krishnas figured this out a while back. They used to canvass local airport lobbies and waiting rooms asking bystanders for donations. Where they started was they would hand out roses to everyone who made a donation. But what they quickly figured out was that if they gave their rose to their would-be donor before asking for the donation, that the number of donations they received skyrocketed. And that's simply because of the law of reciprocity. When somebody does something nice for us, we feel a very strong innate urge to do something to pay them back. This creates an open loop. What's fascinating about this is what's given does not have to be proportionate to what's asked in return. Yet the number of people who will agree to the request is astronomically higher than if nothing was given in the first place. Cults and cult-like followings have been using this method for centuries. And it's often how they'll twist their followers into agreeing to do tasks that they never would have willingly agreed to do otherwise. Now, this can be seen in the real world all over the place, whether it's free samples at Costco to downloadable free lead magnets online. there's always a catch. Now, those were the 7 dark psychology tricks that marketers use to make you buy. If you'd like to learn how to ethically sell your products and services online without feeling like you need to take a shower afterwards, then go watch this video here where I break down our entire process for doing so.